At the start of the film, Hunter and Becky are trapped at the top of a massive 2,000-meter tower. They try calling for help, but there's no signal at that height. Worse, the tower stands alone in the middle of a vast desert, making the chances of anyone spotting it almost zero. As if that isn't terrifying enough, vultures begin circling and attacking them. They're exhausted and dehydrated, but they can't afford to sleep, because if they do, they won't just slip. They'll fall thousands of meters to their deaths. The film then shifts into a flashback. Becky, her husband Dan, and her best friend Hunter are out rock climbing, laughing and enjoying the thrill of it. Everything feels light and adventurous until Dan reaches for a small hole in the rock to steady himself. When a bird bursts out, causing him to lose balance and end up dangling, Dan struggles desperately, trying to swing himself back toward the rock face, but he can't regain control. Becky and Hunter try to help, but the rope gives way and Dan plummets to his death. The story then jumps ahead 51 weeks. Nearly a year has passed, but Becky is still trapped in the shadow of that tragedy. She's withdrawn, drowning in grief and numbing the pain with alcohol. The spark she once had is gone. Her father, James, watches her spiral and pleads with her to move forward, to find some way to live again. But Becky refuses to listen. The loss is too heavy, too raw. Later, at her lowest point, she sits alone with a bottle of pills, seriously considering ending her life. Just as she's about to go through with it, her phone rings. It's Hunter calling her for the first time in a long while. The next day, Hunter visits Becky with a daring plan to climb the abandoned B-67 TV tower. She says it's their chance to feel alive again and reclaim the adventure they've been missing. She invites Becky to join her. Still grieving, Becky isn't interested. However, the next morning, after reflecting on her memories with Dan, she changes her mind and decides to climb the tower. On the way to the tower, Becky scrolls through old photos of Hunter and notices one where a man's hand is resting on her shoulder. When she asks about it, Hunter dodges the question. Just then, Becky's phone starts ringing. It's her father calling, but she chooses not to answer. They finally pull over at a small roadside motel to spend the night. During dinner, Becky discovers that Hunter has reinvented herself as a travel vlogger, earning enough money through her content to explore new and extreme locations around the country. As they sit there talking, their eyes drift toward the distance, where the massive TV tower rises against the skyline. Even from far away, it dominates the view, standing as one of the tallest structures in the United States. The next morning, Becky and Hunter get back in the car and continue toward the tower. Hunter starts filming another vlog while driving, enthusiastically talking about the 2,000-foot structure they're about to climb. Distracted by the camera, she nearly crashes into an oncoming truck. After some time, they arrive at the tower site, only to find the entrance gate locked with a clear danger warning sign. Despite this, they decide not to turn back. Leaving their car behind, they begin walking across the deserted land toward the massive tower. They spot vultures feasting on a dead animal. Rather than feeling disturbed, Hunter films the gruesome scene for her vlog, snaps a photo, and uploads it quickly, drawing likes and attention online. A short while later, they finally reach the base of the tower, and Hunter immediately resumes filming. Becky, however, is overwhelmed. Standing beneath the massive structure brings back painful memories of the past, and fear begins to take over. She thinks about backing out, but Hunter encourages her to confront her trauma and push forward. Hunter secures her rope to Becky's harness, linking them together. She then starts climbing the ladder inside the tower. Up close, the structure looks far worse than expected. Layers of rust cover the metal. The ladder trembles with every step, and several nut bolts hang loose, as if they could fall at any moment. As Becky climbs behind her, one of the metal rungs suddenly snaps beneath her weight. The sharp crack echoes through the hollow tower, sending her into sheer panic. For a moment, she freezes, but steadies herself and continues the climb upward. Eventually, they make it to the halfway point. From that height, the world below looks unreal, the city reduced to what seems like a tiny toy town. They pause for a short break, catch their breath, before continuing upward. After a grueling climb, they reach 1,800 feet. Only 200 feet remain, but this final stretch requires climbing the exposed ladder on the outside of the tower. The wind is stronger, the height more overwhelming, and the rusted metal even more unsettling. Becky is visibly shaken and begs Hunter to turn back. But Hunter refuses, urging her to push through and keep climbing. Soon, they encounter large metal discs blocking their path, forcing them to carefully edge sideways along the narrow frame to get past. Hunter navigates the obstacle confidently and helps Becky across. As they climb higher, the wind grows stronger, shaking the structure and intensifying Becky's fear. Noticing this, Hunter teasingly shakes the ladder, but the moment turns serious when a nut bolt loosens and falls into the void below. Luckily, the ladder remains intact, and they continue upward. Just before reaching the top, another bolt drops off, reminding them how unstable the climb truly is. At last, they reach the top of the tower and start capturing photos and videos, thrilled to have made it. But for Hunter, it's still not enough. Wanting more dramatic footage, she pulls out her drone to get even better shots from above. Moments later, she hands the controller to Becky and shocks her by hanging herself off the ledge for a daring shot, hoping it will boost her popularity. After climbing back up safely, Hunter urges Becky to do the same. Becky is stunned and immediately refuses. But Hunter keeps pushing, insisting that facing the drop is the only way she'll truly conquer her fear. Becky hesitates, then finally takes Hunter's hand and carefully lowers herself over the edge of the tower. Suspended thousands of feet above the ground, she dangles in midair while Hunter snaps selfies, capturing the terrifying moment. Just as their grip begins to slip, Hunter quickly pulls Becky back up to safety. After regaining her composure, Becky takes out Dan's ashes and releases them into the wind. As they scatter into the sky, she whispers a final goodbye, turning the moment into something deeply emotional for both of them. Deciding it's time to head back down, they secure their harnesses, and Becky begins the descent first. But the moment she puts her weight on the ladder, it suddenly gives way beneath her. She drops instantly, screaming until the rope jerks tight. Hunter reacts just in time, gripping the line with all her strength and pulling Becky back up. Shaken but alive, the two burst into hysterical laughter, overwhelmed by the near-death scare. But the relief doesn't last. When they look down, their smiles disappear, and the entire ladder section has collapsed. There's no way down. They check their phones, but there's no signal. Looking down, they see their bag, along with their water and supplies, stranded on a metal disc far below. All they have left are binoculars and a flare gun, neither useful in the daylight. The situation overwhelms Becky, and she starts to panic. Hunter calms her, saying the sound of the ladder crashing must have alerted someone nearby, and urges her to wait for help. While they struggle to come up with a way out, Hunter notices a deep cut on Becky's leg from the earlier fall. Without wasting time, she removes her shirt and tightly wraps it around the wound to stop the bleeding. Later, as the hours drag on, Becky asks Hunter why she really started vlogging. Hunter admits that it began because of Dan. That answer lingers in the air, quietly planting a seed of suspicion in Becky's mind. A few hours later, Hunter checks her phone and remembers uploading the photo of the dead animal earlier. That makes her think there might be a signal at a lower height. An idea sparks. She quickly drafts a help post, secures her phone to the rope, and carefully lowers it down as far as she can, hoping it will catch enough signal to upload the message. They wait anxiously, but nothing happens. The attempt fails, leaving them stranded once again. Even after the failed attempt, they remain convinced that there must be a signal near the base of the tower. So they come up with a riskier plan to throw the phone all the way down and hope the help post uploads. To protect it, Hunter places her phone inside her shoe, cushioning it with her socks and even her push-up bra to soften the fall. Once it's secured, they drop the shoe and anxiously wait for a notification. In that tense moment, Becky notices a tattoo on Hunter's foot, the same code Dan used for "I love you," and it unsettles her. A little while later, Hunter spots a man walking with his dog near the base of the tower. Hope rushes back instantly. The two of them scream at the top of their lungs, waving desperately, but their voices don't reach him. As the man begins to walk away, Becky throws both of their remaining shoes down, trying to grab his attention, but it doesn't work. Desperate, she grabs the flare gun, but Hunter reminds her it won't be visible in daylight. Hunter spots that the man is not alone, and she suggests waiting until nightfall to use the flare gun, believing it will be far more visible in the dark. When night finally arrives, Becky fires the flare into the sky. This time, it works. The bright light catches the men's attention, and they even spot the girls waving frantically from above. Hope surges through them as the men rush toward Hunter's car. But the relief is short-lived. Instead of helping, the men break into the car, steal it, and drive away, leaving the girls stranded once again. The betrayal crushes them, and now they're forced to think of another way to survive. Becky finally confronts Hunter about the tattoo, and Hunter admits she'd been having an affair with Dan for 6 months. She says she fell in love because he truly listened to her, but ended it out of guilt, claiming she loved Becky more. The next morning, Becky's phone alarm goes off, signaling that 24 hours have passed since they threw Hunter's phone. Completely exhausted and extremely thirsty, Hunter decides to climb down to the disc to retrieve their bag. She secures one end of the rope to the tower and fastens the other end around her own body. Slowly, she descends as far as she can, but she's still unable to fully reach the disc. With no other option left, Hunter unhooks her harness, hangs onto the rope with one hand, and swings herself toward the disc. She manages to land on it and quickly grabs the bag, taking a few desperate sips of water. After that, she uses her selfie stick to hook the bag onto the rope and holds onto it firmly, preparing for Becky to pull it back up. After this, Becky begins pulling the rope as Hunter starts climbing back up. Just as she's about to reach the top, her grip suddenly slips and she falls. For a split second, Becky's heart stops. She looks down in horror, only to realize that Hunter is still hanging on, clutching the bag. But Hunter's hand is badly injured, making it harder for her to hold on. Gathering every bit of strength she has left, Becky desperately pulls the rope, determined to bring her back up. After some time, Becky comes up with another idea. She writes a desperate help note, attaches it to their drone, and sends it flying toward the motel in hopes that someone will find it. But the plan falls apart when the drone's battery starts running low. It doesn't make it very far, forcing them to bring it back before it crashes. With yet another attempt failing, they're left feeling helpless once again. Later that night, Becky wakes to find herself alone on the tower. As she searches for Hunter, vultures suddenly attack her, and she realizes they're tearing apart Hunter's body. She jolts awake in panic, only to realize it was just a nightmare. The next morning, a new idea strikes her. They can try charging the drone using the tower lights. Becky carefully climbs up the pole and connects the charger, but the connection is loose. To keep it working, she has to physically hold the charger in place. Under the scorching heat and with vultures constantly circling and attacking, she forces herself to stay steady. But during the struggle, she accidentally knocks their bag off the tower. After some time, the drone finally becomes fully charged, and Becky carefully climbs back down. Without wasting a second, she launches it toward the motel, hoping this time their message will reach someone. For a brief moment, it seems like it might actually work. But just as the drone is about to reach its destination, a passing truck crashes straight into it, destroying it instantly. Watching their last hope shatter in midair, the girls are left devastated, realizing they have no clear options left. Soon, a violent storm makes everything worse. And desperate, Becky asks for Hunter's shoe to try dropping the phone again. But Hunter quietly says she can't, because her shoe is still on her foot, down on the disc. The truth hits hard. Hunter never made it back up. She fell onto the disc and died. Becky had only pulled up the bag and had been alone the entire time, hallucinating Hunter to survive the trauma. At night, Becky somehow manages to survive the storm. She records a video message for her father, expressing her deep wish to return home. Meanwhile, James is shown worried about her, clearly concerned for his daughter. The next day, a vulture senses Becky's weakness and starts pecking at her wounds. In a desperate fight for survival, Becky grabs the bird and repeatedly slams its head against the metal surface until it dies. With no other source of food left, she forces herself to eat the vulture's flesh to stay alive. After regaining a bit of strength, she secures the rope around herself and jumps down onto the disc where Hunter's body lies. Once there, she sends a final message to James and places her phone inside Hunter's shoe. This time, she tucks the shoe into Hunter's body to protect it, then throws it down from the tower. Later that night, James receives the message and immediately calls 911. He rushes to the location, only to see the police carrying away a dead body. Overcome with grief, he breaks down, believing it's Becky. But moments later, he's overwhelmed with relief when he sees his daughter still alive. In the end, father and daughter finally reunite, sharing a deeply emotional moment after everything they've endured. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to subscribe for more content like this, and hit the like button to support the channel. And don't forget to leave a comment if you'd like us to recap your favorite movie next. Until next time, take care.